Hi, my name's Lourie, and this is my tiny house. I've named her Slim and Sassy. She's the Pacific Coast Traveler made by Tiny Smart House in Albany, Oregon. And I'd love to take you inside and give you a tour. The bed here, well, it looks like a sofa, but it's actually a conversion. A neighbor of mine, a carpenter, built this bed, and it is a single bed. It sleeps one comfortably or two very snugly, as I say, and it pulls away from the wall, and this whole section drops down, and the pillows come off. It just takes 10 or 20 seconds to get it ready for sleep. In the daytime, it's really nice because it's a place for people to sit down when they come over, and in tiny living, space for seating for guests is often limited. And it works really great, and it's super comfortable because I just lay back, and I have a big screen or a little screen TV on the wall, and I can lay back and watch movies in it. I wanted first floor sleeping, ideally, and initially I was going to do a Murphy wall bed where it came down off the wall, but that didn't work out. So actually the conceptual part of this was sitting down with somebody and saying, okay, I want first floor sleeping, but I also want somebody to build me something where people can sit down and have a place to be. So we sat down, drew it out, and it just came to life over time, and it took only about 10 days, 2 weeks to build it and get it ready to rock. Yeah, there's a little bit of storage under here, which is great because at nighttime I put my sleeping pillows in here and just put my Afghan on top here. And then underneath also are things that I need to get to a lot. And these are things like a sewing kit and other items that I might grab a lot. And this particular area is really nice because it fits some baskets just beautifully. And I, again, keep things in there that I need to get to all the time because the loft is a little bit high for me and it requires a ladder. So I keep some things under there for grabbing quickly. There's another little cool benefit to this is that without me knowing, and it was a surprise, the carpenter put in some really nice side storage here where I keep DVDs, books, maybe some craft items, some things for my grandkids when they come over. And then on this side I put in my DVD player, DVDs, and that type of thing. And it's interesting that this storage actually is not filled all the way. And I'm surprising myself all the time that I've got empty baskets or empty storage areas when you think that you're going to pack everything in. Yeah, every day the bed is really easy to set up. What he did was he put in some straps, some heavy-duty straps, so I just kind of strap it down and connect each strap together along the bed. And then I just push it up and put my pillows away, and it doesn't take long at all. The idea of making sure that it goes to a sofa every day is that I work at home and I want an environment that doesn't look like it's ready for sleeping. So at night it only takes me under 30 seconds to get everything set up for sleep, and it makes it really easy. I also was part co-designer in this process, and when I sat down with the designer I said I needed some things, and one of them was a very large pantry. So this whole pantry holds all of my food, and also up here on the top section I keep linens and extra office supplies and that type of thing that keeps them out of the way. Also, I was part, co-designing this particular area, which is my home base for the work I do from home. I do some consulting work, and I asked specifically to have a window here. And my guitar even got a starring role in the house because I wanted to make sure that it was accessible and I had it all the time and that it was in sight. So I decided to have it put right up here. Setting up an office in a tiny house is really important because we get used to it living in an apartment or a house that we have a place to do our work and have a flat surface to work on. And a lot of other tiny housers say, oh, I really wish I would have put in an office of some kind. And even if you don't work from home, it's important to have one. And with this one, I made it a little deep going back. So underneath here is actually file containers. I actually have my printer underneath there on the left-hand side. And I bought a little extra three-drawer kind of little shelf here to put in the office supplies, and there's even some extra clothing, seasonal clothing in that section. But the purpose of having one is that all of us need a place to either do mindful work or some type of like maybe writing out your bills or just getting your head straight on some things that you're working on. I opted for a kitchen that has a little bit more counter space than some tiny houses have. the reason I did that was so I would feel that there was room, and a lot of people have told me that I have a lot more counter space than some tiny houses have, because many of them have about this much space. So I extended this out. That's why I had this particular bed made, because originally a bed was going to fold down and hit this. So I said, no, let's just extend the countertop, and the builder obliged me and did that. The shelf above here I had put in so I wouldn't have a lot of things on the countertops, and that's coming in very handy as well. There's plenty of cabinet space and drawers here. In fact, the last little cottage I lived in didn't have this much storage, and everything fits nicely, and as all tiny housers know, we get rid of things we don't need, and these cabinets hold everything. I also asked for a nice faucet and a deep farmhouse sink. That way I can do dishes in the sink and leave them in the sink to dry, which is great. I also decided that I did not need a large oven. I do everything in a convection oven, and this one does baking, broiling, everything I need, and actually holds normal sized bakeware and cookware. I probably wouldn't cook a gigantic turkey in it or anything, but it does work for everything I need. And the fridge is a dorm fridge, and this particular little dorm fridge is very tiny, but it holds everything I need. We have a community garden here, so my perishables really all I need to put in there, and I just pick what I need from the garden, and that works out really well. For a large family, a 2-burner may not be as helpful, but for me it's perfect. This area here I put up and bought a little pot rack and some new pots and pans and put them up here, where these are the things I access all the time. And underneath here is where I keep extra bakeware and cookware that I don't use very much. I love this setup because it's just easy to grab, and as soon as I'm done with dishes I can just hang them up there. I love having propane as well, and that is another way of cooking where I have a lot more control over the heat, and the amount of propane that I use is so little that the tank lasts for months, and it works great. The countertop is something I specifically asked for, and this is the look I wanted. Now some people prefer more of a composite material, maybe tile and that type of thing, but I really love the look of it because since I did the entire interior in cedar, I wanted that feeling of a more cabin-y, kind of like a cabin look. And I'm looking at installing some more tiles, but for right now I've put these tiles in, these Mexican tiles, and I just think it adds a lot of nice color, a little pop of color on the counter, and it also gives it some character. There's some interesting ones here of different colors, and I really like them. My daughter is a construction person and a carpenter, and she has something similar in her home with many levels across a very large wall. So instead I made one that is smaller, and this is one way to keep things up off the counter. Once again, it's all about keeping things off the countertop. And I put this up there and it works great, and I keep some cookbooks up there and a little, decorative plant type thing. I was actually going to put a shelf up here that adhered to the wall, but this one works great because it just hangs on 2 hooks. It's removable, and if this tiny house is on the move, this comes down easily and I won't have to worry about something falling off a shelf. All right, so up here is a storage loft, and I had it raised up a little bit, and it's not, of course, intended to be a sleeping loft because it's very, very small. But the idea of tiny house living is to minimize everything we own. So I put some baskets up there. I have a blow-up bed, I have some seasonal clothing, and some extra pillows and linens if somebody stays over. And the baskets up here, for the most part, are empty. They're pretty much for decoration. And I do have options, I'm sure, for things to go into those baskets, but the idea is how much can I live without? And it's another reminder of the amount that I really need to have is so little. I keep surprising myself, as I've said, about how little I can actually live with. I get up there, I can reach the baskets if I stand on my step stool, but if I do need to get in there and really do a little spring cleaning in the very back, I go ahead and get my 6-foot ladder out. I get up there, and there's lighting up there as well, so I can flip a switch and it lights up back there. Because of the curvature of my roof, the back of my storage is a little bit smaller, so some smaller items just get pushed back there, and the larger items go in the middle, and then my baskets are up in front. Well, now we're in the bathroom, and I opted for a larger bathroom. Now, some folks have a very small bathroom in their tiny house, but when I'm getting ready, taking a bath, showering, I really feel like I need some space to move around and not bump into things all the time. For those of us who've lived in tiny apartments, cottages, or tiny houses, that's what it seems like you're doing. Your elbow or your back or your arms are hitting something all the time. I've got plenty of space in here, and I love having a bowl sink, and I built a table to extend out the vanity so I have some space to put things down. I really love having small drawers and some drawers underneath to have my clothing. The other big item that I really wanted was a bathtub. I was going to build a small soaking tub, but it ends up that the larger tub works really great for me, and it gives me an option to not be in that space of only being able to take a shower, but if I want to take a nice hot bath, I can do that. I also have a regular flush toilet, and I built that so I could plumb it for a flush toilet. In the event that I want to go to a composting toilet, I can do that. The conversion is not planned at this time, but for right now I'm just using the flush toilet. I also had a small window, of course, put into the bathroom, which is very nice. Another nice feature of this bathroom is that it has a heater on the ceiling and also a vent. So while I'm showering, I can put my towel over the rack, and it heats the towel while I'm showering, which is really great, especially in the wintertime, and I can wrap myself in a nice warm towel. The heating and venting working simultaneously actually takes out the moisture from the bathroom. Not to say that the bathroom doesn't smell really nice after a shower, because of course when cedar warms up a little bit and gets a little humidity, it smells really nice. The space of this bathroom is a little larger, so you can see that more of my house is taken up by bathroom, but because I wanted a larger one, that's how it ended up. Okay, well, we're back toward the front of the tiny home now, and across from the sofa bed conversion is a little area that I have here that has a piece of furniture, and there are very important, maybe sentimental things that people keep, and they're not going to give up. So I had needed to, during the build, incorporate something that was very important to me, and this is a tansu chest. These are built usually in Japan, and it stores a lot of those tiny little things that people just don't have room to store. Different little office supplies, little things that are important to me, photographs, and I kept that and made sure that there was going to be room in here for that. And I love having it, and the size of it is perfect because it only comes out 12 inches this way, and it fits beautifully in the space, and it even works like a little bookcase. Moving along on this side, because of course I didn't want to have a table on this side, I put some shelving up here, and I also put my television on an articulating arm so it can come out and I can turn it to watch television, watch movies. I also bought an HD antenna because I don't need cable. I don't need a lot of stations. I just need some general stations to watch news perhaps, and it works out great. And of course the DVD player comes into play a lot. I have a fireplace. It's a fireplace heater, and when this little fireplace is on, it looks like there's a little fire burning in there, and this heats the place up in about 5 to 10 minutes because I'm in a very small space. There's also a wall heater here, but I've connected this heater to a thermostat here on the wall, and I set this up so if it gets to a certain temperature in here, that heater will actually turn on. And in the middle of the night, it's kind of cool because it comes on and it's a nice little fireplace. I picked up this little gem at a thrift store, and it's an old-fashioned kitchen stool, and this is great for when someone comes over and they have a little place to sit. And storage in the closet is always a problem, so I put up a little rack behind the door, and this works out and is very, very space-saving. Speaking of closets, we're going to get to that, but in the meantime, I wanted to say that I got this at a thrift store, and it helps me have some extra space to work. And if I want to set up a project over here and I don't want to mess up my desk over there, I have some space to do that. Closet space, of course, is always a concern, but I think I've done a great job because I'm a disciple of Marie Kondo and I'm tidying up my space. And what's really important to me, what I feel great wearing, are the things that are in here now. And I put everything in here that I need. All of my clothing that I absolutely must have is in here. And I can't believe it because I used to have a gigantic closet full of clothes that I really didn't wear and I didn't need. Above, I put a shelf in, and this allows me to put things like my iron and some tools. Below, I'm a musician, so I have my amplifier and my music books, some cleaning supplies and that type of thing, and it works very well. This closet actually extends back to the wall on that side, and it was a challenge at first, but once everything started going in there and I started organizing it, it was just fine. Well, thank you for watching the video, and I am selling this particular tiny house. Just click on one of the links below and you can get more information about that. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And again, thank you for watching.